Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are riding, reviewing, and discussing the 2024 Kawasaki Ninja 500. I'm a little late getting this review out. I've already done the naked version of this motorcycle, which is the Z500. If you want to check that out, you can click this link up here in the top right. But the goal of today's video is to tell you a little bit about this machine, take it out for a test ride, let you listen to the exhaust, and at the end of it, I'm going to arrive at a verdict that determines whether or not you should be looking at this motorcycle to call it a good buy, or if instead you should stray away from it and say goodbye. Before we get going, we've got to give a shout out to our dealership friend who makes these videos possible. This is a bike that I borrowed from them. It's Big St Charles Motorsports.
Big St Charles Motorsports is your premier dealer for everything power sports related here in the Midwest. Located just 20 miles northwest of St. Louis in St. Charles, Missouri, Big St. Charles Motorsports easily has the most inventory and the most brands under one roof. You really will have a hard time finding a bigger selection than what Big St. Charles Motorsports offers. Whether it's the Apex Predator of the top-of-the-line road-going motorcycles, a big touring machine from someone like Indian Motorcycle, or just something in the off-road category from Gas, KTM, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Can-Am, it doesn't matter. They've got it all under one roof. But it doesn't just stop at the machine. Their parts, apparel, and gear department is stellar. Whether you're looking at something from Shoei, Bell, Fox, Alpine Stars, the employees that work here are sure to get you steered into the right direction. They'll make sure to get you fitted into something so you can rep your favorite brand. Come down and visit them today. Located at 3830 West Clay Street, St. Charles, Missouri. Find them online at bigstcharlesmotorsports.com or give them a call directly at 636-946-6487. Big St. Charles Motorsports and Omnimoto are not affiliated in any other capacity outside of these test ride reviews. If I say something stupid, please don't blame Big St. Charles.
Additionally, if you want to help support my channel beyond just viewing the videos and interacting with my content, check out some of the links in the description below that are affiliate links. I am an affiliate for both Revzilla and Rurock helmets. If you make a purchase using those links, I may be financially compensated. You can find this helmet, my gloves, and these new Alpine Stars boots that I'm going to be rocking in this video to get them broken in for my track day coming up. That's enough of that though. Let's talk about the Ninja 500. Let's just get a brief intro to this motorcycle. I'm a salesman at Big St. Charles Motorsports, and while I'm on the showroom floor, I'm constantly asked, do you have any Ninja 400? And the short answer to that is no. No! The Ninja 500 is the latest successor in the Ninja lineup, coming from the Ninja 400. The Ninja 400, although beloved by many, was a little long in the tooth, so Kawasaki decided to update it and give us the bigger, badder version. But how much bigger is it really? The Ninja 400 was 399 cc's. Our Ninja 500 is actually 451 cc's, but Ninja 451 doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well as Ninja 500. The Ninja 500 has versatility written all over it. It's got a great balance of power, comfort, and agility, making it an ideal candidate to grow with you as you develop and hone your riding craft. We'll talk about a few more technical changes that they made to the Ninja 500 compared to the 400, while also talking about some of the stuff that they kept the same as well. And I think that's enough for the intro on this motorcycle. Let's go ahead and cut it off here and let's dive into some specifications. Starting at the front of this machine, we can identify a 41mm set of conventional telescopic forks that are right way up and not inverted. I did see another journalist, a Mr. Zach Kortz from Revzilla, say that he got answers from Kawasaki on why they stuck with these forks, and it's because the inverted suspension is a little bit heavier. And this is a budget bike that's supposed to be lightweight and approachable for beginners, so I guess that makes sense, but I think that an inverted suspension looks better, and sometimes I'd be willing to sacrifice that rather than the conventional appearance here. The rear shock is a unitrack, is what Kawasaki calls it. It's just a standard monoshock mounted in the center of the frame. The only suspension adjustability on the Ninja 500 is found in the rear shock with the preload collar. The brakes in the front are a 310mm disc with a 2-piston caliper provided to us by Nissan. And in the rear, we find a 220mm disc pinched between a single piston Nissan caliper. ABS is an option on the Ninja 500. On the SE trim, as shown here, it is standard equipment. So far, suspension, brakes, wheels, tires, mainframe have all stayed the same from the Ninja 400 to the Ninja 500. The motor is where things get slightly different. It is still based on the same mill as the previous generation Ninja 400, but now we have an elongated stroke contributing to the total displacement coming out to 451 cc's over the 399 found in the Ninja 400. Whenever you elongate your stroke like they have in the Ninja 500, you create a scenario for more torque to be applied. To better explain this, imagine a door handle about this long. If you tried to open said door handle from the inner side of it and tried to push down, it would take a lot more force than if you just grabbed on the end of it and pulled down gently. That is torque. And if you're curious about horsepower, that's just a function of torque. It's how quickly that torque can be applied. So, if you can very quickly open the door handle, that's more horsepower than just slowly opening it. It could take the same amount of torque, but if you're doing it quicker, you're creating more horsepower. If you'd like a better understanding, I highly recommend watching Driving for Answers video covering the two subjects right here. I'll put a link for that in the description below. The guy does an amazing job answering all questions between the relationship of the two. Let's get back to the engine in the Ninja 500. It is now producing 51 horsepower over the Ninja 400's 49 horsepower, just a 2 horsepower gain. That said, the torque found in the Ninja 500 now is much more substantial, at 31.7 foot-pounds. Compare that to the Ninja 400's roughly 28 foot-pounds of torque. Doing the quick math in my head, that's between a 10 and 20% gain on a motorcycle that didn't really gain any weight, so that's a big plus. The Ninja 500 did keep the same transmission as the Ninja 400, however. It is still a 6-speed with a slipper and assist clutch. The main difference from what I've been reading and viewing online are the changes that Kawasaki made to the gear ratios to be more accommodating for the added torque that we now have available. Much like a lot of the other specifications on the Ninja 400, the Ninja 500 kept the exact same seat height, coming in at 30.9 inches. I watched a few other videos of guys riding this motorcycle, and they did talk about how the seat does have a little bit more of a flat curve to it now, so you don't get shoved too far into the tank. It is a little bit wider as well, which is a little bit more accommodating for those of us with larger rear ends. And it only tips the scales on the SE trim as shown here at 381 pounds wet and ready to ride. If you go with the base model and no ABS, I believe you're coming in about 10 pounds lighter, around 373 pounds. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know what's coming. It's a very approachable weight figure that inspires confidence in many riders at just 381 pounds wet, but I promise that is nothing compared to, drum roll please, Yo Mama.
Wow.
Now where were we? Ah yes, the saddle. How do I fit into the saddle at 6'1" with a 32-inch inseam weighing it at 185 pounds? Let's find out. Very accommodating for someone of my size, almost even a little cramped, honestly, whenever I put my feet up on the pegs. Pretty sharp bend in my knees, but nothing compared to its Super Sport counterparts. And reaching up into the bars, I'm noticing that I do have to creep slightly forward with some bias, but that's to be expected out of a modern day sport machine. And I'll throw the rider triangle up here on the screen so you can see it's semi-aggressive with, again, that forward bias, but it's nothing overly extreme that's going to cause you extreme discomfort throughout the day. Overall, I think the seating position for a machine that's designed for the streets with sport riding in mind is very, very on the nose. That's enough on specs for right now, and I know that you guys are a bunch of eager beavers for the test ride segment of the video and you want to hear how the exhaust sounds, but before we do that, I do want to discern the differences between the Ninja 500 shown here that I'm reviewing with you guys versus what the base model Ninja 500 offers and the other trim levels available to you. And I'm actually going to come pick you up and we're going to walk around the bike a little bit and talk some about it. So what you've been looking at for the entirety of this video is a Ninja 500 SE 40th Anniversary Edition ABS model. The Ninja 500 got in what my opinion is a much nicer looking front end. I really like the styling on the Ninja series, and it's carried down from the ZX lineup. With this being the SE trim, we do have a couple of added goodies like this taller windscreen shown here in front of you. The SE trim also adds that radiator shroud for some added protection for your cooling system up behind the front tire there. The front turn signals, along with the rear turn signals, are LED compared to the standard halogen signals that come on the base Ninja 500. The Ninja 500 SE comes with frame sliders from the factory. I appreciate that Kawasaki provides these on a beginner level model because a lot of beginner riders are worried about dropping it. And what I can tell you is that even if you do drop it, replacing a frame slider compared to replacing all of this body plastic right here is significantly less expensive. The 500 SE also features keyless ignition with a proximity system on the little key fob right here. The little manual key has a switchblade kind of mechanism that flips out and allows you to put fuel in still. But you can see all I have to do to fire the motorcycle up and power it on is click it and stick it. And we are ready to run. And that brings me to my next talking point on the SE trim, which gives you this beautiful 4.3-inch full-color TFT display that is very easy to read under any lighting conditions and gives you a bunch of great data readouts to kind of enhance your riding experience and relationship with the motorcycle out on the roadways. Once more, ABS is standard equipment on all of the SE trims. Almost finished up here. We also have these added tank protectors. You get that center one and then the two on the sides. And I would definitely call them tank protectors and probably not tank grips. They're pretty thin, a little plasticky, and a little slick to the touch. So not super good for gripping onto, but better than nothing, and a little bit of an added bonus on the SE trim to make up for that value that they ask. And to put a capper on things, they also give you an added seat cowl for a more aggressive and streamlined look on the tail section of all of the Ninja SE models. And those are all of the feature highlights on the Ninja 500 SE trims. This anniversary model here does come at a $200 price premium over the standard SE, but you do get the signature Kawasaki wheels in that heritage colorway. But we've talked enough for this portion of the video. Let's go ahead and let's throw this into the exhaust clip. Yep, well, that's what the engine sounds like, just your classic parallel twin with a 180-degree crankshaft. Now that that's out of the way, we can get on to the test ride, so let's go ahead and flip it over to me, and we'll see you there. Hey, thanks, me. It's me in the parking lot of Big St. Charles Motorsports. I've got the whole rider training course area to myself today, so I figured this would be a good alternative compared to where I usually go to get acquainted with this machine. We've got a bunch of little marks set up on this asphalt here to kind of help us set ourselves up for some low speed maneuvers and making sure that we're acquainted with this machine before we get it out on the roadways. Highly recommend everybody do this with a new motorcycle that they purchase. That way, you know where everything's at on the motorcycle, you know how it responds, and you know how it behaves before you go out and try to interact with the traffic here in the US. And just right off the rip, low speed Ninja is very nice. Try to bed our brakes in, get a feel for how we can lean the bike around. And since I actually ride these bikes rather than babying them, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in front of that. There's a break-in procedure for your motorcycle. There is a necessary amount of load that you have to put into it in order to seat your piston rings and all the other stuff that needs to get bedded in and worn in internally within the motor. So I will be using this bike today. I'm not gonna necessarily be easy on it, but I'm also not going to abuse it and ride it like a maniac. Let's get a quick brake test. Let's go ahead and just do, let's do this. This yellow box right here, let's just accelerate with speed towards that yellow box and try to stop within it. Set marks for yourself. Accelerate faster and faster and try to hit those marks each time to get a better idea on your braking capability and how quickly you can stop. So here we go. Let's get up to 20, 30. A little bit of ABS, but I even stopped before that box, and that was from 30 miles per hour. Let's try one more time. Here we go. Okay, this bike stops pretty well for a single disc up in the front. It is pretty lightweight, so our brakes don't need to, again, be the pinnacle of performance. But just like the rest of the Ninja lineup, it's pretty ample for what it needs to do. All right, the other thing I want to test, 2 parking spots. See how tight we can make this turn. We don't have the big open parking lot, so we'll just have to set a mark here and kind of use it. So you guys know how this goes. If you've been here before, if you don't, we're gonna start on this yellow line. We're gonna cut in, not before that line, but that one over there where that red arrow's at that I just put on the screen. Let's go full tilt, find the zone, drag the back brake, and go. Very manageable. That's easily within 2 spots. Yep. Very, very capable. I think I probably had the same impression on the Ninja 400, but low speed maneuvers on this bike are so easy. It just feels so natural, and I think it would inspire a lot of confidence in a new rider to come out here and get on something like what I'm on right now with the rider course markings on it, and set yourself up for success by hitting those marks and understanding the bike at low speed, because that's where a lot of people struggle. Once you're moving, that's kind of the easy part. So let's go get to the easy part and let's get moving. Cool thing about Kawasaki motorcycles, they have a neutral position finder, positive neutral finder, that's what it is. So from a dead stop, no matter how hard I pull up on that gear shift lever, I'm gonna find neutral every single time. So from first gear, I'm gonna pull up on that lever as hard as I can and bam! Can't get into second gear, neutral every single time when you're at a dead stop. Whenever you're rolling, it does get a little tricky trying to find neutral, especially if you're coming down from second. You'll very often click past it and go into first, but by that time, you're usually stopped and finding yourself able to just hit neutral with that positive neutral finder. Again, as far as I know, that is a Kawasaki exclusive, not just on the Ninjas, but on the other models like the Vulcan 650, ZX6R. Pretty cool, Kawasaki. Let's go ahead and just get to a nice cruising speed of 60 miles per hour, and let's find ourselves in our top gear right at, what is that, 60, turning about 5,500 RPM. That's about right for one of these motorcycles. First impressions on the seat, it's actually quite plush. I kind of like the squish of the seat. I don't mind that. What I don't like is the seat cowl. It looks good, but it is hindering my ability to scoot further back because it's kind of hard, and it's pressing on my tailbone, which I'm not crazy about that. But it's a simple fix because with the SE models like this one, they do give you the passenger seat to go with it, which is a little softer to the touch. So I'd probably swap that out just if I was going to buy one of these and daily ride it, just so I had maximum comfort under any circumstance. Oh, yo, is that Scoots? Scoot Dog. What is that? A Honda Elite? What up, dude? I can't wheelie this. Yet. I know the Ninja 400, 500 platform wheelies. I've seen people do it. I think I have an idea on how to make it happen, but we'll just have to get there. And again, we're going to do it safely as well. You know, we're not going to like 12 o'clock this thing. Not that I even have the capability to do that, but we're going to just pick the front tire up because I know it can do it. Hell yeah, brother. Does everyone see me? Yes, thank you. Very nice. Gearbox is it's a pretty positive click. There's not a lot of uncertainty in the lever in terms of what's happening. Another thing that I forgot to mention with the SE trim while we were doing the walk around and I had you guys in my hand showing you around the machine, there's a little USB port right here. So that's pretty handy for those of you that like to run bar clamps for your phone, or maybe just to charge your camera on the go. Can we go footless? No feet down? Zero? Nope, foot down. I always find myself having fun on the small displacement Kawasaki's. I've said it once, and I'll probably say it again after this video. Riding slow bikes fast is more fun than riding fast bikes slow. And even riding slow bikes around town slowly is fun. It's enjoyable. You don't feel like you're straining the motorcycle, asking too much out of it. There's not a whole lot of uncertainty whenever you're cruising around town on one of these. The only thing that you maybe want to keep an eye on is your temperature gauge. You can see as I'm sitting here looking at my full color TFT display, it's running at 213 degrees Fahrenheit with this stop and go traffic, which is kind of to be expected on a 90-degree summer day here in the Midwest. Once you get moving and start flowing some air across that radiator though, those temperatures usually drop back down. And at about the 220 mark, the radiator fan should kick on anyway. It looks like that's about to happen as we approach 219 degrees, and we're back down to 217. So it looks like our fan kicked on. All systems are operational. Way back when I did my Eliminator review, that motorcycle had a flashing check engine light on the dash, and you'll find that this motorcycle has the same deal going on the dash. That is largely part of the dealership process of buying a new one. Whenever you purchase one of these, they take it back to the service prep area. They basically unlock the dash and that engine light goes away. There's no hidden features or anything when they unlock it. It's just part of the process and something that Kawasaki has them do. I think this is just a Ninja 400 tank, but I don't know, from what I remember on the Ninja 400, I think I mentioned it earlier, the seat has not as aggressive of a scoop in it. It's a little bit more flat of a taper, and I'm finding myself pretty happy in this saddle. Very comfortable for a sport bike built for the streets. And that assistance slipper clutch that Kawasaki provides is a great tool for beginner, intermediate level riders. Rather than trying to pick up the new skill of rev matching, the slipper clutch kind of helps you with mitigating rear wheel skid by allowing a little bit of friction to pass by within the clutch assembly and prevent some wheel skidding in the event that you grab down a gear a little too early. We'll go ahead and try it out right here from third to second. Yep, so there was no from the rear tire whenever I did that. We'll even try first. Ooh, there was a little bit, but I feel that would have been far more drastic on a machine that did not have a slipper clutch. So like to see Kawasaki bringing that to the beginner level riders and helping them get their footing. Oh my God, grass clippings! Oh no! The two-wheel enthusiast, mortal enemy. Mostly when you're just going around turns. And I feel like most of us kind of just meme on that, like it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, if you're cutting your grass, please, whenever you're done, blow your grass clippings back into the ditch. I'm sure that you have a family that you enjoy coming home to see every night without injuries. Those of us out here rolling out on two wheels would prefer to do the same. So normally on this stretch of road right here, we would be seeing if this Ninja 500 could pick the front tire up in the air, as we do with most of the other machines, but we're going to save that for a little bit further down the road, and we're just going to continue to evaluate the around town prowess of the Ninja 500. And I guess while I'm doing this, just a question for you, the audience: is there anything that I'm doing on my channel that you enjoy seeing, or the opposite? Is there something I'm doing on my channel that you wish I would do differently? I'm always open to constructive criticism. I want to make my videos the best that they can possibly be. I feel like we've got some really good momentum behind the channel growth right now, and I would like to continue that as we get into the cold weather seasons, whenever I won't be out on two wheels as much. But I'd like to start getting an idea of maybe some changes that you guys would like to see me bring to the channel, or some improvements that I can make for you to make the content more digestible and just more fun to watch in general. I'm a little different than some of the traditional motorcycle vlogger reviewers, I like to think. Maybe a little bit more quirky and a little more cringy at that as well. But that's, you know, part of the character, once more, the character of Omni that I developed for this channel over the period. I've found Omni's voice and what he does and what he's good at, and sadly he is not long for this world, for we are encroaching on the downhill slope to the point where I will start talking to you guys face to face with no helmet on my head. And if you want to help that happen, all we have to do is get this channel to 20,000 YouTube subscribers. Then I'll take my helmet off and you guys can see who the hell was that? And you guys can see who's been under here the whole time. Oh, that's a green light. Hit. That pole was about 75% throttle. Pretty decent little run out there. And right here, we're gonna go under this interchange and come out on Highway 370 here, where the speed limit gets upwards of 70-ish miles per hour. We're gonna open the little Ninja 500 up, see what kind of guts it's got. And we all know that it's not the fastest bike in the world, but from my previous experiences with Kawasaki's new 500cc, well, quote, 500cc, it's a 451. This new platform that they've got. Hello, hi, hello. His dad don't care. Oh, that's funny. This is the beauty of going out and doing motorcycle stuff. People like to hate on us motorcyclists, but you know, we're human just like the rest of you. Sure, some of us have helmet confidence, cough cough, hint hint, wink wink, me me. But we're here to most of us are here to have a good time and just enjoy the day the same as you and spread joy and positivity. What up, dude? Grom Squad. I attribute most of the attention I'm getting right now, I've gotten looks from a few people, to the Ninja styling. This is one of the most iconic sport bikes ever produced. Not necessarily the low capacity ones, but the Kawasaki Ninja, period. The Kawasaki Ninja is hands down one of the most identifiable and well-known household names in the world of sport bikes today, and I don't think you can really deny that. All right, so getting out on the interstate here, ramping it up into 70 miles per hour. We're not even in 6th gear yet, doing 70 at 7,000 RPM. Let's go ahead and grab up one more gear. So 6th gear, 70 miles per hour. This is very, very usable as a commuter. If I wanted to, I could even go down 1, go down 2, open it up to 100%. And we're hitting 100. There's 110. So Ninja 500 definitely has got some capability to thrill beginner riders with entry-level amounts of going fast. And I think this is probably all that we need for the interstate segment. We've basically proven that we can get up to speed and we can even accelerate at speed to perform a pass or execute a maneuver to get us out of a scenario that we don't want to be in, which is very important if you're considering this motorcycle for commuting purposes. I think that holds true for this engine platform altogether, whether it be the Ninja 500, the Z500, or even the Eliminator, which is also the 500. It's a 451 again motor in this motorcycle. Okay, and normally I would bust a UE right here and we do a 0 to 60 test on that on-ramp, but instead we're going to use this new road that they just put in front of this warehouse. It's a very low traffic area. It is completely flat, which means we should get listen to me, we should get very accurate 0 to 60 times, as far as what I'm capable of course. Previously we were going uphill. In some of my older videos it was downhill, but now we're totally flat. Before we do that, someone usually asks me if the engine is buzzy or not, and the Ninja 500 engine is pretty buzzy beyond 4,000 RPM. It's a parallel twin, kind of the nature of the beast, unfortunately. It's not perfectly balanced. It's not the most out of control, outrageous vibrations ever, but it is there. It is present. Is it something that's going to completely turn you off of the motorcycle? I don't think it should be, because, well, you have a series of small explosions occurring between your legs a few thousand times every minute. So if vibration is something that you're worried about with a motorcycle, maybe you should look at something like an electric motorcycle, or something from Honda with an inline 6-cylinder, or a flat 6 rather, because to my knowledge that is the only or one of the few motors out there with perfect balance. A parallel twin is not. That said, it's still pretty smooth for what it is, and nothing that bothers me personally. Get some thick boots, get some gloves with some good padding in them, and you're gonna be okay. Anyway, let's do a 0 to 60 test. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. 60. I mean, that is pretty solid, Ninja 500. Pretty solid. All right, and now to see if we can get a wheelie out of old girl. This is again, not trying to abuse the bike for those of you watching. Well, here, let's hold on a second. We've actually got a car behind us. The last thing we want to do is put anyone else at risk here, so let's just pull off for a moment and let's make sure that everyone can drive by safely without worry of the worst case scenario happening. Better safe than sorry. And let's stop here, positive neutral finder, boop, right into neutral. All right, from second gear, what do you guys think? Maybe 20-ish miles per hour? Let's go ahead and get ourselves turned around. I am still figuring out these boots. I'm breaking them in, and I don't have a ton of familiarity with the boots and the brake lever and the shifter and all that stuff. Let's just try first gear. Let's try to chase one out. I think we can do a little bit better. Let's try it. And you know what? I think I'm pretty happy with that. Was it the best wheelie ever? No, absolutely not. Was it okay, and did it prove that the Ninja can pick the front tire up off the ground in general? It certainly did. Never claimed to be a wheelie master, and I won't claim to be one, because I am far, far from it. But man, the Ninja, these small Ninjas prove time and time again to set a benchmark for the small displacement beginner entry-level motorcycle, and they do it so well. And I think it's really impressive that Kawasaki this time around has not increased the MSRP of the base level Ninja. Ninja 400 in 2023 was $52.99. Base level Ninja 500 in 2024 is $52.99. You get more performance, you get updated styling, all for the same price. And I think that's pretty fair. You could add ABS for a few $100s more, and then you can jump up to the SE trim from the base model being $52.99. The SE comes out to $63.99. That's $1,100. And real quick, just to recap everything that you get for $1,100 more: bigger, taller windscreen, full color TFT instrumentation, keyless entry, USB-C port, LED turn signals, rear seat cowl, frame sliders, and you get ABS. And I think that's it. Maybe I'm missing something, but you get a lot of stuff over the base model for $1,100. Could you add all of that stuff for $1,100? Maybe, if you got like some really cheap stuff. I mean, the dash, there's no way. Installing a proximity key system, I don't know how to do that. I'm sure you don't know how to do that. Maybe you know how to do that, but could you do it for less than $1,100? Is your time and money worth that much to do it the cheap way? I don't think so. I think Kawasaki builds a lot of value in this bike, and I think that someone like myself who's familiar with what these items cost, and maybe you even watching, can justify that increase in price for all these added extra features. And they're giving them to you from the factory without a huge premium. And they still have the base model for those of us that don't want all that extra fluff, who just want a motorcycle to go out and tear up. So I think that it's a good thing that they have these other trim levels. It's an opportunity for Kawasaki to provide more value to those who are willing to pay for the value, while also, again, having that option for those who don't need all the extra frills and fluff. Just a quick comment on the windscreen. Awesome at cutting through the wind. For me, I'm a little on the taller side. It's hitting me. It's like right here is where I'm getting it. But a quick tuck behind the windscreen and all of that wind goes away, and I'm in a nice little bubble. I love the maneuverability of the Ninja 2. It flicks around so easily with the kind of skinny tires on it. It's very, like, you can just whoop, whoop, whoop. Feels very nice, and it doesn't have that lazy handling of something with a longer wheelbase where you ask it to tip in and then the rest of the bike follows. It's very compliant and moves around super well. Very happy with the Ninja 500, very happy with the old Ninja 400. I think you would be very happy on a Ninja 500 if it's on your list of motorcycles that you're considering. You know, other bikes you could stack it up against, definitely the CF Moto 450 SS. That bike is an absolute home run for the value that it provides, and I don't foresee that bike being updated for quite a while. It's pretty new on the scene, and when you compare it to this model, it's not missing a whole lot. You know, it's got ABS, it's got integrated frame sliders, it's got LED lights, it's got a TFT display. If anything, I think Kawasaki was playing catch up with this bike because CF Moto came out with that 450 and it was so successful. I'm sure this bike was probably in development long before, you know, the 450 SS ever hit US soil. But just something to kind of think about when you're looking at these other competitive models and you see new bikes follow suit. It makes you wonder what is happening behind the scenes at the HQ of these manufacturers whenever they see a new model come out and start taking some of their market share from the segment where they previously had mostly dominated. And to add to that, the 450 SS comes in at just, I think, $5,499, $5,599, still cheaper than the SE model of the Kawasaki for most of the same equipment. If you want to check a review on that motorcycle, I did it a long time ago. You can watch that video up here in this corner. And there's other models like the RC390, the single cylinder from KTM. There's the Aprilia 457, which is a little bit more sophisticated and feels fit and finished a little bit better. I think it maybe makes a little bit more power, has some good features on it. And then there's the Yamaha R3, which in my opinion is long overdue for an update. I think there was one guy, or the video I did on the R3, who was like meat riding the R3 saying it's good enough. And I just don't agree with that school of thought, because if we were content with just good enough, well then every manufacturer would fall into the Suzuki problem, which is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then we don't get innovation, and then the industry kind of just becomes boring and stale. So if you're watching this video now, guy from the R3 video, you know who you are. Blow me. No, just kidding. I do appreciate your thoughts and comments on that, and it's always nice to see someone else's perspective on things. And I think maybe you feel that way because you bought one. I went to your channel, I watched some of your videos, so I know you ride one, and I know maybe it hurts your feelings that I say it's kind of long in the tooth and needs updated. So if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry you feel that way. But that's it. We're back at Big St. Charles, and I just kind of yammered on in here, and I'm gonna go put this bike back, give it back to him, show him that it is coming back in the condition that it left in. And yeah, that's gonna go ahead and wrap up the test ride portion of the video. So I guess we'll go ahead and get to the verdict next. We'll see you there.
So the overall positives from the Ninja 500, there's quite a few, and I think the pros far outweigh any of the cons. First off, with a super low seat height, it's gonna be very approachable for nearly anyone that steps up to it, especially for newer riders or anyone that doesn't want to feel like they're approaching a skyscraper of a motorcycle. Overall comfort, it's a sporty riding position, sure, but it's not a super sport riding position, which means it's not terribly aggressive, which means that longer rides in the saddle won't leave you sore after hours. The wind protection on the Ninja is better than its naked counterpart, especially the SE trim with this larger windscreen. Can't commend that enough. It threw a ton of wind around and over me to help me get down the highway with minimal wind fatigue. And overall, the suspension and the brakes, sure, they're not the pinnacle of performance, but they get the job done and they do it pretty well. And the last thing I want to talk about is the learning curve, which isn't super steep on the Ninja 500. I think the Ninja 500 is just beginner friendly enough without feeling too tame. And I think we can credit that to the added torque that the Ninja 500 has over the 400. By no means did that bike feel slow, but this bike took everything that was good about the Ninja 400 and expanded on that and even added a little bit more juice to make it more enjoyable. The power delivery just feels a little bit smoother at slower speeds, making the Ninja 500 easier to control, which is a positive for any kind of rider. The Ninja 500 for me has the perfect trifecta of power, comfort, and agility, making it an awesome bike for anyone to hop on and grow with and learn, which to me makes it a perfect candidate for me to say, it's a good buy. And for the negatives on this list that would make us say goodbye, we'll keep that list fairly short. At the end of the day, if you want a sport bike with track-ready performance, you should be looking at this machine's cousin, the Ninja ZX4RR. That machine is a true super sport with a very horsepower-biased engine, which is what wins races and gives you that high adrenaline pumping thrill. It's not that the Ninja 500 can't be thrilling, but it's just enough to be thrilling without having too much else beyond that. And that's what makes it so good. It's more fun to ride than it is thrilling to ride. The only other downsides is that it's a sport bike, which means that there's almost no storage on it. And for riders beyond 6'1" like myself, you're probably gonna feel a little bit cramped on it. So for most of us, it checks the right boxes, but if any of those other reasons that I just listed might appeal to you and those are some concerns that you have when looking at motorcycles, you should probably look at the Ninja 500, cross it off the list and say goodbye. Hey ho, how you doing? It's the end of the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, coming back and viewing some more of my content if you've been here before. If you're new, well, welcome to the show. I hope you enjoyed your stay and I hope that you'll come back for more. I think I've got one more review planned for this year. It's gonna be my personal 2019 Yamaha MT-10. After that, I've talked about a couple other videos that I'm gonna make in my last review that I did. Up in the future, we're gonna be talking about this helmet that's on my head. This is the Ruroc EOS. I'm gonna give you my short-term review with it and how I feel about it compared to my Atlas 4.0. And we're also gonna be doing a short commentary sit-down video covering the new 2025 CF Moto motorcycle lineup and possibly what's to come from them in the future. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in watching, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about my video that I just provided for you. What do you think of the motorcycle that I rode? And was I accurate? Did I talk too much? Did I not talk enough? Let me know. Oh yeah, and if you want to support the channel a little bit more than just watching it right now, don't forget those affiliate links down below are for me. I might be financially compensated if you make a purchase using one of those links. You can find my helmet in there, you can find my gloves in there, you can find these new boots in there. God, I think I pulled something when I kicked up like that. You can find my Insta360 in there, and a lot of other stuff that will just help enhance your motorcycling experience. Anyway, that's all that I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to say thank you so much again for watching. Hope you have a wonderful week. Please, ride safe.